Welcome to an interview with the one and only Zemi Games. I'm your host, Carlo, on 4GQ TV, and we're about to get into Zemi's newest and first project. Hey, what's going on, Zemi?
Pretty good. Can I be your co-host today?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
here.
let's do
Yeah.
it. I got a chalkboard behind me. I'm ready to go. Can you answer those questions on that chalkboard?
No, I can't.
I can't. I can't either.
maybe after a few DLCs or something, maybe I can. I don't know. Yeah. I probably not.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, probably
it's
not.
very complicated math. But I probably learned that in maybe sixth grade, and I completely forgot it.
Mm. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just looks like really kind of complex algebra, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of. I don't know. But see, I'm seeing some symbols in the background that I don't know. Like,
Recognize?
well, like there's like the long line with like the circle, which kind of looks like a little degree symbol, like down at the bottom, and like I'm probably just showing my ignorance to everyone right now, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's a good question. So, people, if you
Yeah,
watch this video later on, let us know what that is because I am completely curious.
yeah.
Yeah, if you come in the chat on 4GQ TV on Thursday and you answer that, maybe you get a code or something for this game
I,
because you're smart enough to answer it.
I can tell you one thing for sure. That's not an elementary school.
No, you don't think so?
It's not. No, no.
Okay.
At least not in America. Yeah, I can contest to that.
Yeah, I don't remember DXD either. I thought that was like some DVD code down there. But maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I just can't remember school at all, period, at this point in my life. So Zemi, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like how did where you came from in gaming, what got you started, and how you got here making this great game called Back to School.
Yes, well, it all starts in the beginning. In 1993, I was born. Yeah, the month was June. I'm not going to say the date because I don't want to give people my birthday, but I don't know him that personally. No, in all seriousness, I started a long time ago, became a content creator, made a lot of Xbox tutorials, fell in love with it. But of course, like I've always been a gamer. I've always wanted to create a game, and so here recently, I decided to make my very own studio called Goldenrod Games. And kind of the main goal of the studio is to take genres and gaming that are underutilized and try to or take genres and just combine them together to make new experiences in a modern sense. And so like our very first game that we made and that we're releasing, it comes out March 10th, is called Back to School. And Back to School is a educational trivia school simulation game where the player has to answer challenging primary school questions to progress through the game and to go through each grade of elementary school and ultimately graduate from elementary school. So it's definitely a game that is in a lot of ways a challenge, but it's also educational. So it's really a lot of things for a lot of different people. If you're a younger child or if you're a parent with kids, of course, it can be a very fun and entertaining educational resource. But if you're an adult like I am without kids, it can be a really fun game to make you question how smart you really are.
Yeah, I can say that thanks to you providing a code, I have played the game and I found second grade difficult. Um, I eventually passed, but it really makes you think because you have a timer on there as well. So I had the easy mode kind of timer. I didn't put it on that 2 minutes
Yeah.
crush mode. I think if I would put on 2 minutes, I would have gotten F because it took me a while to think of some of these answers.
Yeah. And I mean, and so, that is one of the main things that determines the difficulty of back to school is the timer. Of course, just organically as you're playing the game progressively gets more difficult as you play. As the player starts, they start off in first grade. You're not able to go to any of the higher up grades until you pass first grade. And of course, the questions are relatively simple. There's still some tricky ones in first grade, but as you go to second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, progress in the game to higher grades, the game's just gonna organically get more difficult because just fifth grade is a lot harder than first grade is. But in addition to that, the timer does act as the other form of adding additional challenge to players, and so in back to school there's a couple of different settings for the timer. There is the hard setting that is 2 minutes, and it is definitely pretty gosh darn brutal. It doesn't sound like it would be, right? 2 minutes to answer 10 elementary school questions. I mean, if a lot of people made a wager against that, I think a lot of people would bet some money on it. Uh, but it really can be pretty challenging. We also have a medium timer that's set for 5 minutes, a easy timer that's set for 10 minutes, and then of course, with this being an educational game, we wanted to add in a, a decent level of accessibility, and so. There are a lot of people with learning disabilities, and so we wanted to make sure to add in an option of no timer. That way, we can give people who have dyslexia or other forms of learning disabilities all the chances to and all the time that they need to be able to read and figure out what the answer to each question would be.
Yeah, I think the timer idea was an excellent, excellent
Yeah.
mechanic of the game. When you mentioned the game title to me, I didn't even think about a timer, but after playing it, it makes complete sense of why it's there. I mean, how many times were we in school? We had like 45 minutes to do a quiz or 30 minutes to
Yeah.
do a quiz. And these are real, I mean, for us, these should be simple, basic answers. And they're
Yeah.
really not because we forget. We don't memorize all this stuff that younger kids might be exposed to constantly. So fantastic idea, by the way, fantastic mechanics in it.
Yeah.
And let me ask, how did you come up with the title for your studio as well?
So how did I come up with the title of my studio, or the name of my studio? That is awesome. I've done quite a few interviews so far, and no one has actually asked me that question. So I live in Kentucky. I'm a Kentuckian, and I very much love my state. I think we've actually had conversations about this, Carlo. I
Yeah.
really like the state of Kentucky, and unfortunately, here in the bluegrass state, we don't have a very large presence for any real game development. There are a few studios, and I think really one even remotely notable publisher. But it's all very 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 small. And so whenever I decided I wanted to make a game studio, and I was going to make it in Kentucky, I wanted to have some, symbol of Kentucky, and so here in Kentucky, the state flower is the goldenrod, and that is really pretty much it. I mean, it's Goldenrod Games. I think it sounds pretty good, kind of, maybe mystical fantasy, kind of like. But it's also kind of playful. I don't know. I really like the way that it sounded, but then I also really like the connection with the state of Kentucky, and ultimately. One big goal I have for this studio, and I don't know if I'll ever get to accomplish it. Hopefully, I will. But one big goal I have is, there are a lot of people in Kentucky, like in Richmond, Kentucky, and Lexington, Kentucky, and just all around the Bluegrass State that love video games and want to make them. And they go to school to learn how to do it. And once they get out, there's not really any place locally for them to go and get into the career that they want to do, right? And that was a problem that I definitely faced as well, wanting to work in the games industry, but having to move to potentially California or Florida, or another state that really has a strong presence for it. And so, one big goal is to definitely, hopefully, I can build a studio maybe that can support the hiring of some young people that are interested in game development, and maybe don't want to move and change the state that they love as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like an excellent plan, and I hope you definitely succeed with this because I know from when we had our chats before, you were experimenting and learning code and developing, and then you went on the super secret hiatus, and I was like, Zemi must be up to something. He must have something coming close to production. So, how long, how long from concept to actual finished game design product did this take you? How many months?
From concept to finish product, I would say probably around 6 months. Yeah, like from very, very early concept of like, "Hey, this is the idea," and I'm starting to write it down and figure out, how I'm going to make this game, what resources I'm gonna need, what I can offer to, the project versus what type of work I'm gonna have to, contract out, and, what does my budget look like, all these different things. Yeah. From the initial concept all the way until the finished product, yeah, I would say about 6 months.
Wow. So that's actually an amazing feat because there's a lot of people that cannot get organized that quickly. You have an idea, you take it down, and you make it happen. You don't sit there
Yeah.
and you're not procrastinating. You're like, I'm getting this done. I'm getting this contracted out. I'm getting this
Yeah.
work done. It's all going to come together. And bam, we have this awesome game coming out. And for everybody listening right now, you can wish list this on Steam. You
Yep.
can buy it on Steam, pre-order it. It's also
Mhm.
coming to Xbox as well, right, Zoe?
Yep,
And
it is.
any other plans for releases on any other platforms at this time?
Yeah, so initially we were looking at at also releasing the game on iOS and Android. We actually pulled back from that idea just because when play testing it, we didn't feel like it played as well as it did on a larger screen. So, we're still like experimenting with the game as far as that goes, and trying to figure out how to make all of the UI and text components on the screen look and play as good as they do on console and on PC. And if we're able to solve that, then we'll probably also release it on iOS and Android devices as well. But as it stands right now, the two platforms that the game is on and will be releasing on March 10th is the Xbox One and Series consoles, as well as Steam. And once again, that the game does release on March 10th, and it does cost $4.99.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive. And that's actually a really good price point, I think, for your game.
Thank you.
I mean, for 4.99,
Mhm.
you can learn a lot of information. You can have a lot of fun. You could challenge yourself. And it's also, I would say, it's very family friendly. It's something that you can get for your kids, something you could play with, your whoever in your family is just coming over, hanging out. You want to quiz them a little bit. Not a bad idea. Get this game and put it out there and play it on your Xbox. I know that as of right now, from my understanding, on Xbox, it's got to be in the ID at Xbox program for the achievements.
Mhm.
And everybody listening to this, please ask Xbox because I think achievements on this game would be awesome. And I think they would be fun to look at on your profile. Like, hey, I passed second grade. I mean, come on. That is great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's something that I want to put into the game for several reasons, and one of them is being very, very selfish. I'm a huge achievement hunter. I love achievements. I go out of my way to unlock some of the hardest achievements just out of the pure joy and pleasure of playing games and unlocking achievements. I just love it, right? And it's amazing and it's fantastic that, you know, a game that I'm making is coming to Xbox, even, you know, through the creators program that doesn't support achievements. But adding achievements to that would be the cherry on top for sure. It really, really would be. The Steam version of the game does support achievements. So, you know, we already know exactly what the achievements are going to be. We already have the artwork for each achievement. I really, really like them. That was honestly one of my favorite parts of creating this game was creating the Steam achievements. And the same achievements that are on Steam are also going to be on Xbox if we can ever get the game into the ID at Xbox program. But no, I think that they are very, very fun to unlock, and there are you know, there's also some pretty clever ones. Like whenever you unlock an achievement, of course, there's always like the title of the achievement, like the name of the achievement, and then usually a description. And some of those are quite clever. I really enjoyed writing and creating those.
Oh yeah, you know, when I was playing on Steam and I saw like a little thing pop, I got excited because I'm an achievement hunter as well. I mean,
Hmm.
we all, a lot of us on Xbox love achievements. We love that sound and the pop up. So when I saw it on Steam, I was really excited and I was glad that it could be added to my Steam profile, as you
Hmm.
could say. What, you know, for these achievements, what is the one that sticks out to you the most that you think is fantastic? Something that makes you laugh a little bit, or, you know, something that was creative for you?
You know, I don't want to like go through like there's a good a few of them, but I guess I'll talk about two. The first one is by going to the credit screen, you unlock an achievement. And the achievement's called Kyle is my favorite dev. And the image is of like a little computer with Kyle's name written on like the monitor of the computer. And that one just, I don't know, it just really cracks me up because he had no idea that I was doing it until I sent it to him. He's the programmer, he's the lead programmer for the game. And so he was the one that programmed each of the achievements actually into the game, so that whenever you accomplish a certain task or a certain event happens, then the achievement will pop. And so, you know, he saw it and he laughed. He sent me a message back. It was overall just a great time. Probably the, you know, the second one and probably the last achievement I'll mention because you know, for all the Steam players who play the game, I definitely want them to, you know, be surprised by the achievements that pop up because a few of them are hidden. As well as for Xbox players, if achievements hopefully ever come to the Xbox version, and hopefully they will, I want them to be a little surprised as well. Whenever you fail a quiz, there is one in particular. I think it's called "A Dog Ate My Homework," and I can't remember what the artwork is for it, but no, that was another one that I actually really, really enjoyed. There's another one, but I can't mention it. I can't mention it. It's yeah, it's like a little Easter egg in the game.
Oh,
But
I'm gonna have to find that now. If I
yeah,
don't find it, I have to wait for those guides to pop up that we see everywhere. But
yeah.
that's really cool. I really like that, man. Like I really like the fact that you yourself are an achievement hunter and you came up with these great achievements for achievement hunters. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, so I know you mentioned earlier, and I'm not sure if this is a hint or not, but you said something about DLC. Do you have plans for DLC?
Yeah, so a lot of whether or not we do DLC is really, really reliant on how successful the game is. You know, of course, if the game comes out and if, you know, it's not very successful, it doesn't hit where we think it's going to hit. You know, there's not a very strong likelihood that we're going to push out DLC. But we do have some plans for DLC and additional content, both paid and free content. And a lot of that is just expanding on, you know, what the game currently is. So, you know, for future DLC, you know, without saying too much, because I don't, you know, want to potentially excite someone over something that I can't make the promise that's ever going to happen right now. we're potentially looking at adding additional game modes as well as additional like grades and quiz questions and so on and so forth. We have some pretty big plans for the game. Nothing that we've actively been working on here at all. But if the game comes out, if it does relatively well, um, then yeah, we do plan on coming out with DLC, both paid and free DLC. Yeah,
Oh, that's a big deal, especially with achievement hunters. That's a huge deal. So
yeah,
everybody out there listening, I mean, if you want to see DLC happen, please support this game. It's also, it's a indie game in a sense because it's Zemi's first game, and we love indie stuff. Indie stuff is the heart of the game industry, and you get creative and you can make stuff that other companies can't make or don't have the permission to make. And with this game, it had to be a creative idea by you, Zemi. I know
yeah.
in the party chats, sometimes you come up with these real good questions that nobody can answer. So makes me think of that. Now, with back to school, what are your long-term thoughts? What are your hopes?
Like as in what? Like just for the game overall, or yeah, okay. I mean, of course, we have certain sales targets that we would like to hit. And by doing so is would provide a good amount of funding to support both coming out with DLC, continuing to support the game, but then also future development of other games that I've been kind of writing down and beginning the very very beginnings of a very basic concept for. So really, I right now, the biggest hope that I have is that we can hit uh, a, a good enough level of sales to continue making games and making and really expanding and going bigger than what back to school is, right? um does that answer your question?
It
I
does,
know, I know I
yeah.
know I'm being a little vague,
It's
but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, right? Because there's certain things that you don't know yet, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. But when it comes to the work and the questions in the game, who came up with these questions?
I did, yeah. I think Kyle definitely went through whenever he was playtesting, and every now and then he would find a mistake, or he would find some way to improve upon the question. But for the most part, yeah, I came up and wrote the majority of the questions, yeah. Which is honestly very time consuming. And to actually talk about real quick the amount of content that's in the game, just for full transparency, in back to school there are 5 main levels, each of them being a different grade in elementary school, so first grade all the way to fifth grade. Each grade, each level in the game has 4 quizzes to do: English, math, science, social studies, and each quiz has 10 questions whenever you load into the quiz. But overall there are 25 to 50 individual unique questions per each quiz, for the game to randomly generate, right? Which adds some level of replayability to the game. But overall there is a little over 500 questions total, and each of those questions is researched and written by me. There are some databases online where you can go and pay to just go and grab a bunch of questions to throw thousands of questions into a database, and a lot of trivia games actually do that. I learned while developing this game, but I definitely wanted to have you know better better questions, or in my mind better questions, like unique questions, very engaging questions. And so to accomplish that, yeah, I sat there and did a lot of research for many many hours and wrote yeah, the questions that you'll hopefully get to answer if you buy back to school.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for everybody listening in, whether it's on the podcast feed or whether it's on the channel, please let us know if you purchase this game because I'm curious on what your thoughts are. And I'm curious if you can do the 2 minute timer because I could not succeed with the 2 minute timer. I could not succeed. And I'm at second grade. Okay. I'm at second grade and I got some of the math stuff
Hmm.
wrong. Unbelievable.
One really cool thing about the timer, and this is, some people watching this are going to say, Trevor, you are so boring once I tell you this, but this is one feature that like really, really excites me the most. It actually involves the timer. So in most games, whenever the timer runs out, what happens, right? Like the mission automatically fails the player. But in Back to School, this also kind of jumps in a little bit more into like the simulation aspect of Back to School. And Back to School, whenever the timer ends, elapses, and you run out of time, a bell sounds indicating like the class is ending, but also that the test is over to indicate to the player that the time ran out. But unlike most games, you don't automatically fail the quiz. The game actually grades the quiz, figures out how many questions you got right versus how many questions you either got wrong or were not able to answer, grades the game, and bases whether you pass or whether you fail off of that. So you can actually still pass a test even though you run out of time, which I think is a really, really cool feature because, of course, that's true in real life. If you're taking an actual test at school, and let's say that you get enough questions correct that you could get a D and you run out of time, the teacher's not going to just automatically fail you, right? He or she's going to grade the test and give you the grade accordingly. And so that's one really, really cool feature that Back to School offers, that is very unique with it being a quiz game because of course most timers fail you for a simple reason. There's no reason to actually let you pass, but and Back to School with it being a school simulation game. Yeah, I really like that feature. I get really happy and I start smiling every time I talk about it because I don't know. To me, it's really, really neat. I don't think I've seen any other game do a feature like that, at least from what I've seen.
No, it's a very unique mechanic. Now, I gotta ask, is there any secret achievements by failing?
Are there any secret achievements by failing?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we already talked about one. The dog ate my homework achievement on Steam. Yeah. There might be another one for getting a D. I won't say what the name of it is or anything like that. But yeah, there are some. There's a variety of achievements on Steam, and hopefully one day Xbox as well.
I hope so too. And Zemi, I want to congratulate you because this is something that you've wanted to do for a while.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had multiple ideas and you were testing out your code. And I remember playing, one of your earlier games as well. But I think that this is fantastic and it's exciting that you made your vision happen. You made this happen. And you as a gamer turned
Yeah.
into a developer and achievements as well, and you made it happen. So congratulations, man, on this. And as always, I wish Goldenrod and you much success, and I hope to see DLC. So people out there, please, 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 please play this game. Please play this game because I would love to add, do more tests, more quizzes, and other stuff you come up with. So creative. But Zemi, where can people find you and more about Goldenrod Games?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in following me personally, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, you can follow me on Twitter at Zemi Games, and that's also my gamer tag on Xbox if anyone just wants to add me for any reason. But if you guys are interested in following more of my game studio and news regarding future games and ongoing projects like Back to School, you can follow us on Twitter at Goldenrod Games. And also currently right now, before the launch and even a little bit after the launch, we're going to be doing a ton of giveaways on Twitter to celebrate the launch of Back to School. And of course, on our Twitter, you can find news updates and so on and so forth as new features are hopefully released to Back to School and so on. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at Goldenrod Games. You can also visit our website, goldenrodgames.com, of course. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the two places that you can actively seek us out as of right now.
Awesome. Yeah, so everybody, you heard that. Go check him out. Go follow him. And, follow him too, because he's a cool dude. So I'm just putting that out there. All right. And to everybody, see you guys next time, and drop a comment below.